Alright, I feel like I need to start doing disclaimers at the beginnings of my videos because I do have dogs, they walk around, I have hardwood floors, you'll hear them. I also have a roommate and a husband, and they live their lives, so background noises are possible. Anyways, today's video is my May wrap-up, but before I begin that, I realized that I stopped recording my little bit of lore at the beginning of my videos. So we're gonna do that today. I'm pulling out my Encyclopedia of Spirits once again, and let's see what we can learn today. This one's long, but let's try and let's try this one out. This is Epona. Epona. I don't know how to actually say it. Also known as the Lady of the Stables. Origin, she's Celtic. Epona is a great and important goddess, guardian spirit of horses and their riders. Her name derives from epos, a Celtic word indicating horse. She is never portrayed without one, but Epona is more than just a spirit who oversees horses. She is an extremely complex deity who was once widely venerated throughout Europe. Ancient Celts perceived horses as oracular animals. Really? More closely attuned to the will and desires of spirits than human beings, even shamans and priests. Various rituals involving horses were intended to reveal the desires of their deities. Epona is likely to have been an oracular spirit. She may or may not be the same spirit as Rhiannon. I have no idea who that is. As with virtually all Celtic goddesses, little documentation regarding Epona exists. It's kind of long, so I'm skipping some stuff. Epona is the matron of soldiers. She has dominion over horses, donkeys, and mules. Those who care for them may consider themselves under Epona's dominion too. Those who abuse them should probably avoid attracting Epona's attention. Yeah. Iconography. So this is, I guess, what she is often portrayed as. Epona is never represented without a horse. Typical image portrays Epona riding side saddle on a mare. A foal sleeps beneath its mother, suckles from its mother, or eats from a plate that Epona offers. Alternatively, Epona is portrayed sitting between several horses that approach her in homage, or she sits between male and female ponies and feeds them. She is occasionally portrayed as a mermaid on horseback. Sacred days. December 18th, her Roman feast. She has a Roman feast. Lucky lady. Offerings. She likes cakes, fruit, and something for her horses. So probably carrots and hay and stuff like that. That was pretty interesting. All right, so now that we learned a little bit of something, let's get into the wrap-up. This is probably the second one-star book that I have ever had, because typically I will still not hate the writing in a book, so I can't fully give it 1 star. But this one got 1 star. In 5 Years by Rebecca Searle, or Searle, I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce it. But yeah, this was 1 star. This book was for my book club for the month. It is a contemporary. It's basically about a girl who, she is a lawyer in New York, and she's trying to make it big. She has a fiance and a best friend, and it's kind of just her life, really. Which to me is extremely boring. I thought it would get more interesting because she has a dream of her in the future, and she's with another man. She's married to him. It's not the same guy. And I don't know, I guess she has sex with him, and she's all panicky about it. And the book kind of just continues with that. And some things happen. It's not like nothing at all happens in this book, but nothing interesting happens. Basically, it just felt like a story that even the author wasn't sure what she was trying to write. There were so many typos, a ridiculous amount of typos. And I understand that that is the editor's fault, but in a way, the fact that there were that many typos and the writing was just so bland, it's the author just wanted to get this book out and just didn't really care what it was actually about. That's how I felt. I wasn't entertained. I didn't like the main character, didn't care for her. She didn't even feel like the main character. Her best friend felt more like the main character because stuff happens with their friendship. And I don't know. There was nothing there for me. So yeah, didn't go so well. The next book was a 2.5 stars, and this one kind of surprised me. I thought I was going to like it more. The Long Walk. I genuinely thought I was going to really enjoy this book because I heard really good things about it, and it's shorter, so I was like, I'll probably get through it pretty quickly. I've enjoyed the 2 other Stephen King books that I've read, I think. And this was a bit of a letdown for me. I did end up looking at what people said about the ending of the book, and it kind of made more, well, it didn't make more sense, but like it was nice to see that other people understood kind of the whole moral of this book. I mean, The Long Walk is basically an anecdote on life, which is fine. I tend to enjoy philosophical books and things like that. But I want there to still be a plot. I want there to still be a story. I want there to be characters that I can vibe with, that I am interested in. And there wasn't any of that in here. Not for me, anyways. Like, it's The Long Walk. You never even really know how the fucking Long Walk started. Why these people even join it. Because it's voluntary. You just join it, right? So, basically, it's a book that genuinely just hitches on the philosophy of life. Of life sucks. And I didn't like that. I didn't even feel like it was very much of a horror. Like, there are terrible things that happen, but the really terrible things that happened just bothered me. There were so many things in this book that were more about, like, sex and, like, the grossness of just being horny and men and what they do when they're desperate, I guess. Like, the despicableness of humans, but also their primal nature. I don't know. It was too much at one point where I was like, okay, I get it. Boobs, and he has an erection, and he just thinks about this. Even the background stories, like the short little background stories on the characters, it's like, I don't care. I really don't care about your silly background story because it wasn't interesting. I don't know. I didn't like it. But I can't fully hate on it. I cannot say that it is a bad book. I will not say that it is a bad book because it is well written and it, like, what it aims for, it accomplishes. It's just that ultimately, because it was an anecdote on life, it could have been trimmed down. It could have been like half as long as it was because it did fill in a lot of space with stuff that ultimately didn't matter. And again, I get that that's kind of the point, but I didn't enjoy it. So that's it. All I gotta say. Okay, the next 2 books, I don't have the physical copies because I borrowed them from my library, but these 2 were 4-star books. I'll talk about the first one, which is Fevered Star, the sequel to Black Sun, which I enjoyed reading so much last year. I was really looking forward to Fevered Star. So the moment my library had it, I was the first one to get it. So excited. But unfortunately, it did not live up to the same, like, greatness as the first book, I guess. It suffered so much from middle book syndrome. You get 2 new POVs, which I enjoyed one more than the other. The other just kind of, I was like, meh about. And really, it just felt like the whole book was setting up for the next one. That's kind of the downside to it, is that nothing really happened of importance because the important stuff that's going to happen is going to happen in book 3. And I felt like that wasn't very good. I feel like something should have happened. I mean, maybe even, and I think I've said this, like, when I read Black Sun, it ended in a way where I would have been happy with it ending. Like, I know so many people hate big cliffhangers. They hate, like, unfinished stories where you don't actually have an ending. I don't tend to mind those. I actually sometimes like it when a book leaves it to your imagination to fill in the blanks or to end it the way you want it to end. So Black Sun, I would have been okay with it being a standalone. And reading the second book, I was like, not the greatest. But it was 4 stars because I loved the writing and I loved the continuation and I just liked being back in there, being with the characters and seeing what's going to happen. It was really slow at first, but when it around the end, when you start seeing where the pawns are being put and kind of what is happening to set up for the future, I got really excited, and I did get some like things that happened that I was like, ooh, damn. So it definitely still deserved a nice 4 stars for me. The other 4-star book is it's I don't even know. It's the second book that is recommended to read if you want to read the Witcher series, which is Sword of Destiny by Andrzej Sapkowski. I'm still trying to say his name correctly. I'm so sorry if I'm saying it wrong. This one nearly was a DNF. The first 2 short stories in this like accumulation of short stories of Geralt's adventures, fucking hated them. The first one was in the show. Geralt ends up helping a man to go hunt a dragon. They're on this like quest to go hunt a dragon. And the short story in the book was that one. And I felt that in the show they actually did it better because there were certain things in the short story and generally in these books that are just not very well geared to kind of today's society and how we approach certain topics or even like how we treat people. Basically, there's just a lot of sexism and misogyny that are in these books that in the first one, I didn't mind it too much because it didn't hit like that as much. But this one, I was like, hot damn, like this is really like demeaning. So I nearly DNF'd the book. I was getting annoyed with the writing, with the misogyny, the sexism, different things. Then I still pushed myself. I was like, just get through the 3rd story, and if you still don't like the 3rd one, then just give up. But I really enjoyed the 3rd one, and the 4th one, and the 5th one, and I think I don't know how many there were, but after getting past the first 2, I enjoyed the rest. I thought it was much better, and I thought that there were some really cool characters that were introduced, and really the best part is Dandelion and Geralt. Their relationship are fucking goals. I love it. So I really did enjoy this one after the first 2 stories. Then I have some 5-star books. The first one I'm going to talk about is Gallant by V. Schwab. So the edition that I have is a Illumicrate one, so it's got like fancy stuff on the edges. Looks like that. I buddy read this with Lorena over on Instagram. She goes as @LoreBookDreamer. And this was her first V. Schwab book. So I was very worried that it wouldn't like work for her. And I was like, no, you have to like V. Schwab, please. And I'll say this. V. Schwab can be a hit or miss. Even with me. Like I've read Addie LaRue, and I thought it was good. Again, I don't hate any of V. Schwab stuff because she does push sometimes towards things that aren't her normal, or she wants to try something different, which is awesome. She just has a lot of things in her head, and I love it. And this one was definitely not what I expected. You follow the main character, Olivia, who she's an orphan, and the only thing she has left is a journal that her mom left behind, but it's very cryptic, and there are pictures on one side, text on the other. It's just really hard to make out what it is. Basically, it seems like her mom went crazy, right? And everyone tells her that her mom is dead. One day she gets a letter from her uncle inviting her to go live with her family that she didn't even know she had at a mansion called Gallant. But even when she gets there, it's very lonely. This whole book felt like empty space filled with darkness and just shadows. And even that, but here's the reason that I really did like is the main character, although she's also mute, by the way. Although she has all this going against her, she's not sad. And by that I mean, like, she doesn't let things defeat her. She still fights, she still tries, and she's still looking. And I thought that was really great because it just showed this side of, like, there is always hope for something. And I thought it was great. I thought this book was just very beautiful. It was very beautiful. And again, V. Schwab just has this imagination that I feel like she has the same shit that I have in my own head. So I just connected with this story a lot. I thought it was really good. The writing was beautiful. The art was gorgeous. Like, there's stuff like this. And the art does, like, repeat itself because it's actually important. And this just feels like the kind of book that I'll either read again or just look at the pictures again to try and understand what they mean. Because, I don't know, it's just... The pictures were important. And it's funny because when I learned that in the book, I was like, this book feels like someone who was an art history student. And V. Schwab was, and I was an art history student too. I don't know, I just love it. I would love to like meet V. Schwab and just talk with her and pick her brain and see if she has the same shit in her head that I have in mine. And the final book, drum roll. Thank you so much, Sam. I will link her channel below. She's also on Instagram, @GreenEggsandSam. Thank you so much. So, Sam gifted this to me as a birthday gift. It is the sequel to The Ninth Reign, so it's the second book in the Winnowing Flame trilogy. The Bitter Twins by Jen Williams. Holy shit. I would almost, like, I love Ninth Reign so much. This one is just as good. Almost better because you learn more. You get more information. Any questions that you might have had in the first book, you get more in this book, and I loved it. I loved how much more the world got built, how much more like perspectives we have that make sense, that like are ones that we want. I fucking hated a certain character in this book because I was like, why? Why are you doing this? You are terrible. Just, oh my gosh. And I also just loved how the relationships continued in this book. I think that also that, like, it's not all rainbows and sunshine, but there are moments where you just feel really happy for characters, and then there are moments where you're just like, yeah, that makes sense that that would happen. And oh, there's just so much imagination that goes into these stories with the creatures, the world, the enemies, the allies, the different shit, the characters and the way that they'll react to certain things, and the shit they have to face. I don't know how else to put it, but I fucking loved it. And I ended up, I was looking for the third book because on Amazon it says it's not being published until January 23rd. Until January 2023. My library said the same thing. They're like, we can't get it. It's not getting published until January 2023. And I looked on like, I think it was like Waterstone or whatever the fuck it's called. I looked on different like British websites, same thing. January 2023. I did find it on Blackwell's, and I really hope that it's actually gonna get here, and that, because it said like the 2020 paperback edition. I was like, okay, so these must be available, right? It said like 10 copies left. I was like, I want one. So I hope I'm gonna get the third book soon, because my gods, I cannot get over this. I need the rest. The way this ended was not the way I thought it would. I fucking cried too. My gosh, why did that have to happen? This is the best I can do without spoiling shit. That's it for my May wrap up. It was a little bit of a roller coaster. Anyways, I hope that you had a great reading month as well in May. Please feel free to comment whatever you want down below, and I will see you next time. Bye.